ever wishing to start the Katie's Arms. Hello to everybody at the Katie's Arms and cheers. And you might be able to tell what the bad news is. But the bad news is that I'm drinking squash. I think I'm just going to sulk. No, of course, it's a very good thing to only drink squash, and well done to everybody who's completely teetotal, and to the people that say by doing the Katie's Arms I'm encouraging people to drink. Then look at me here with my squash. I mean, the sad fact is that you'd have to be a right miserable twat to have a squash like this, wouldn't you, in a pub? So, you know, I apologise for this. It's blackcurrant, it's Robinson's, what can I say? You want to know the for why? I'll tell you for why. I'll tell you what's going on. Hello, Gloucester. Hello, my darlings. Hello, welcome, everybody. So I better explain. This is the Katie's Arms. It's your pub online. One day it will be a real pub, and it will happen, and it kind of is in pubs up and down the country when I'm on the road. But for now, it's online, and usually I come on here, and we have a few drinks together, and everybody says what they want. You can be what you want. You can have a laugh. You can have a cry. You can do whatever you like. Pennsylvania's here. Hello! I love you. Well, I love you too. And we have a bit of a giggle, to be honest, mostly at me. There's no filter. Oh, my God, look at the middle of my forehead. See that? We're going to talk about that. But tonight, I'm not drinking. And you can blame Lovely Mark, because everybody's always like, Lovely Mark, he's so lovely. Lovely Mark, he's so lovely. And then people come up when I'm doing my thing and Mark's doing, sorting stuff out, and they're like, is that Lovely Mark? Is that Lovely Mark? Seriously? We have people ringing up now to have photos with Lovely Mark. I mean, that's lovely and everything, but my point is, let me tell you another story about Lovely Mark. Currently in Amsterdam, just landed. He goes to check in on his EasyJet flight to Amsterdam with my daughter. Right, that was her 18th birthday present. Let me put down this horrible squash. Disgusting. He goes to check in at EasyJet. And bear in mind what EasyJet are like, right? If you haven't paid for everything in advance, if you haven't got all your what's-its in advance, if you haven't got your boarding card in advance, if you haven't got your luggage in advance, you have to pay 85 times as much, don't you? Like 4,000 quid for your boarding pass because you should have done it before you came, you absolute arsehole, right? Bear in mind that. So Marky Mark goes up and it turns out they've got a suitcase they shouldn't have. I mean, what can I say? I didn't organise the trip entirely. And the guy goes, wait a minute, Mark Cross, I know your name. And Lovely Mark is shy and quiet, as we know. And he's like, oh, no, I've never been to the airport before much. And he goes, no, wait, you're Mark Cross. You're married to me. You're Lovely Mark. So a guy at the EasyJet desk, who has no business being nice to anyone because he's probably being paid £2.50 an hour and he's got the whole bunch of shite to deal with, goes, oh, you're Lovely Mark. We'll have your bag for free. What? That never happens to me. Lovely Mark is totally cruising now off the back of my sweat. And so he got his bag checked for free at EasyJet. That never happens, right? Hello from Edinburgh. Don't know what happened there. My mouth stopped working. Hello. And, So now not only was my name abused in Lovely Mark getting a free bag, what he just thought he was so cool about, because like, oh yeah, that's just me, just like, here I go. I mean, bear in mind, it was economy to Amsterdam. It's like first class to Dubai. But anyway, and so now I've got to pick him up. Like I'm a chauffeur now that he's so famous. So I'm picking him and my daughter up at 10 o'clock at night. A, rude. B, if you saw what I drive an old style Fiat Panda. And everybody calls it the disability car because it was, do you own one? Good man, Lovely Mark. What? Why am I not drinking? Because of bloody Lovely Mark. And he was like, oh, you've got the Katie's Arms. Can you come and pick us up after? Oh, clue in the title, Joey Deacon. Katie's Arms, pub. In fact, Mark says I'm not allowed to do Joey Deacon and he's not here. So, he said, oh, can you come and pick me up after? Oh, yeah, it's the Katie's Arms. Clue, drinking. Noob. Anyway, so I've got to go and pick him up, and I'm picking him up in my car. Does anybody own a disability panda like me? So it's a panda, but it's not the fashionable one. It's like it looks like you could push a wheelchair straight into the back of it. I drive that, and basically when you turn the lights on, you don't know that you turned the lights on. You can't see because the lights are from the 1920s. I don't know what they're from. You can't see. Don't drink and drive sober. Exactly. So now I have to creep out in the nighttime in my disability car, sober, to pick up a husband. I mean, seriously, what is the point? Really? So blame him. Tell him. I remember Josie, I know. And Lovely Mark says I'm not allowed to do it because it's not quite right. But he's not here. And also he's making me be sober. So he can... What should we talk about? Oh, can I tell you something important? If you're coming to Leicester tomorrow night, don't panic. If you don't know where you're going, your ticket doesn't even say where you're supposed to be. For fuck's sake, when Lovely Mark eventually decides to come home, he's going to do a mail out to all of Leicester. So if you I had one of those Fiats years ago. I've probably got yours, darling. Mine was second-hand before I got it. Honestly, I am tempted to wear a head torch tonight, like the wankers that ring into Jeremy Vine, and just lean out my window to try and see the route, because I cannot see a thing in my Panda, honestly. I wonder, would it work if I wore a head torch? So, anyway, Leicester. If you're coming to Leicester tomorrow night, please know that you will know where you're going. Please know that if you stood in the centre of Leicester, you're literally there. But when Mark eventually decides to do something like work, while I'm just sweating my tits off here, he's going to do a mail out with the actual venue. And there's still, I would say seats, but we're standing up. So because we're standing up, we can fit more people in. And so if you do want to come tomorrow night, I don't know how to tell you to do that. Can you go on and buy a ticket still? God only knows because Lovely Mark's not here. But I'm coming to Leicester tomorrow, come hell or high water. Should we do some gossiping? I need a good spanking. I tell you, I could spank something. And it's not me. I could spank the person that's got me not driving. Do you know what I thought I'd do? I thought I'd look up the headlines and we could gossip together. But actually it's all a bit shite, so I don't think. Group of diners, 15 diners, walk out of Brighton fish and chip, they put fish and chip restaurant, sure it's fish and chip shop, without paying their bill for food and drinks. What utter gits? Who is doing this? Why do we keep seeing stories about people having a massive meal and then effing off without paying? This is young people. I hope they get caught. What we need to do with these types of people is get them by the hair, literally, this silly cow, with her glasses on her head, and they've had drinks as well. Do they think this shit is for free? Do they think these business owners have just got this shit coming out of their asses, that it's fine to walk, if they don't pay, it doesn't matter? It does matter. If I could get my hand on this silly cow with her crap clothes and rip her by the hair back to this place and make her pay, and then I would want to put her in the stocks outside of this fish and chippy, and I would get people to throw gone-off cod at her and him, the scrawny little soy. Disgusting, disgusting people. If you can't afford it, no worries, I totally get it. We've got security tags on blocks of effing cheese. Like, who can afford anything? No one. But don't go and eat someone's bloody food and then walk out, you absolute bastards. I know it's not us, I'm just having a rant. I'm just having a little scroll. I don't even want to talk about the 27-year-old girl who died suddenly, because no one's allowed to talk about that. Another sporting person died suddenly. I'm a professional dog walker who owns 3 XXXL bullies, and I get more grief from Labradors and Dalmatians. How rude. As a Labrador owner. I think, I love people that own dogs, and I love dogs, but some dog owners can be right dicks, can't they? I find it all the time, just because mine run wild and loose, like crazy things, because they come to heel when I call them, because they don't mess with me. People get all, and then you get some trout with her dog. And her dog is the most special dog, isn't it? Because it's her dog. Oh, and her dog's like going spaz. It's on a lead and it's going full spaz. And my dogs are like politely trying to like just go, excuse me, and get by. I mean, maybe slightly humping her dog's head, but also just politely going by. The dogs did hump someone the other day. No. And the lady with her special dog would be like, oh, you know, he's just a bit nervous. He's just a bit nervous. You go on. And they'll tell you what you're supposed to do with your dog. Oh, you go by. Well, I'll go where I want, and my dogs will go where I want. You're the one with the dog and the issue, and you're the one with the issue. Or they hold the dog back, like as if my dogs are going to immediately eat their dog. Hold them back as if, oh, so scary. And then when the dogs go by, they go, oh, maybe they could just say hi. Could my dog just say hi? Could my dog just say hi? No, just be normal. Let your dog bugger about. If it wants to say hi to mine, they'll probably say hi. If it doesn't need you to be its friggin' interpreter. Oh, can my dog just say hi? I don't know. Is it deaf? Does it need you to sign for it? Right? Fuck's sake. My dog, oh. Or they see mine coming, and they pick their dog up. Like mine are going to eat their dog immediately, like they haven't just had liver and rice cooked for by moi. If you don't want your dog to be eaten, why did you buy a fucking dog shaped like a sausage? Question. Don't want your dog to be eaten, don't buy a little shitty dog shaped like a fucking rabbit. How about that for an idea? How about buy something that looks like an actual dog, as opposed to something that looks like some sort of rodent? If you will walk around with a rodent on a string, for God's sake, be a woman. Men walking small dogs, no. That's up there with short men walking small dogs. I literally think the minute you put a small rat on a string and you think you're going to go walking it, your penis just shrinks away to a little tiny nub. Because honestly, I look at you and I feel nothing but disgust. So emasculating. Everyone thought that the video froze then. No, it's just me having a moment. I've got a little dog like a gremlin. I say. I've got a gremlin. No. Childish. Sissies, exactly. Can I just show you this? Now, I'll admit in my life, it is not the most significant injury I have had. There have been some mighty injuries that I've sustained. But I thought today, on the subject of my dogs being brilliantly polite and harmless and super well trained, I was in this field and suddenly the sun came out and the grass was long, and you know what I'm like in a field, right? And so I threw myself back onto the grass. I thought, just have a lie under the sun. I got all kind of, I don't know, I went all Chris Packham for a moment. And I thought, no, I didn't think I'd be an absolute cunt. No, I went all Chris Packham and I thought, I'll be at one with nature. Sorry for using that word. I never, ever use that word. You know why I use that word? Because of that guy on Reels. What's he called? He's got a massive beard and I love him. I need him in my life immediately. And he's huge and fat and he goes, I'm delicious. And here's my chip things and I'm from Ireland, you cunt. Don't do this, I'm delicious. But in an Irish accent. Do you know the guy I mean? He's brilliant. He basically just eats everything all the time and then goes, follow me, I'm delicious. I love him. I need to marry him immediately. Because I'm delicious. Okay. Anyway, yes, the injury. So I went back, pretending to be one with nature, forget the C word, and then my dogs were like, she's dead. Yeah, let's go and hump her head. So both my female dogs were trying to hump my head, and I sustained this injury. I don't know what from. Maybe one of them's got a piercing in a strange place. Just saying. I'm clutching this bit of paper. I have absolutely no idea why. He's so funny. He is so funny. Anyone, any idea who she's talking about? Is it Garen? Okay, I don't know. We don't know who. He's basically like a real big chunky guy. And he's got loads of things, and he just eats stuff. Like, so he had, what does he call it the other day? He had a bag of chips, and he called them a spice bag. Because they're from the Chinky. Are you allowed to say Chinky? No, you're not. Fuck it. Can I say? So, because Lovely Mark was away, and I had control of the TV remote and I sat down. I never do that. I never watch TV. Put the TV on, and there was this thing, Married at First Sight. Have you watched Married at First Sight? Have I got any piercings? I do. Have you watched Married at First Sight? Okay, now I feel a Venn diagram coming on. Have you watched Married at First Sight? This is people who's watched Married at First Sight. Doesn't matter that it's back to front. You don't need to tell me. We all know what I'm talking about. Yes, I know. My camera work's shocking. Right. Okay. Yes, people are watching Married at... Spice bag is a bag of salt and chili chips. Yes, that's what he had. And then he added a cursory sweet and sour chicken ball to it. I love him. Okay, now this is people who have come to Infectious, my tour, my stand-up tour. I know the writing's dreadful, but I'm leaning on my thigh, as hard as it is. So have you been to one of my stand-up tours? And have you watched Married at First Sight? If you have, you're in the rare group of people here in the intersection of the Venn diagrams. Do you remember these back at school? And there used to be a third one as well, didn't there? And it used to be like, if people have a blue hat but black shoes, how many people have a white stick? And you'd be like, I have no fucking clue. Just write anything. Anyway, so Married at First Sight. Maybe there's someone here who has one arm, right? And you know me, like I am all about, like the weirder you are, brilliant. I have half a head. I'm officially disabled, although I don't, do anything about that or have a badge or anything. I just am. I'm brain damaged. We can all work that out for ourselves. But as part of my, as part of what I do as I go about the place, laughing at myself, I also laugh about the fact that the BBC love to have, someone with one arm now. Now, I know if someone just takes this out of content, it'll be Hopkins mocks disabled. Bullshit. This is about the fact that the BBC cannot do a programme, right, without someone who has a stumpy arm. So it has nothing to do with the disability itself, right? It has everything to do with the BBC can only do a show. It is only possible for them to do a show if you have, so like if you do an impression of me, half a head, and epileptic, I can do that as well. Just before we get all excited about mocking disabled people, yes, I am one. But the BBC only think they can only do a show if they've got a stumpy person, and then who rocks up on Married at First Sight, right? I mean, I love what a rock and roll do, just like, here's my stump, and it's got tattoos on, suck it up. That is totally the way to rock it. But my thing is, statistically, right, it's improbable that per head of population that would apply to a show, and per head of population who have some sort of stumpy arm or leg, it's statistically highly improbable that many stumpy arm people would end up on TV. Do you know what I mean? Just speaking statistically, that is very highly unlikely. You're probably more likely to win the lottery than come up with the odds of this number of stumpy people on TV. And then if you narrow it down by specialism, so you've got to find, so in a Venn diagram setting, you have to find someone with a stumpy arm who is also, typically young and funny, but who can also, let's say now it's the cooking show, what is it called, Bake Off, wanky wank, whatever, cook. So not only is it statistically improbable that there'd be this number of stumpy people, but they also typically have to be young and funny. You can't just have a stumpy person who's got nothing to say. And then they have to have this skill. So the improbability is the probability of this, let's say it's 1 in 20,000, times by the improbability of this, times by the improbability. It becomes incredibly improbable. And that doesn't matter either. It's just a bit odd. There's more that I go into in the show, which we won't do here because, you get more context in the show, and if some wanker does want to take this out of context, they'll totally just think I'm mocking people and they won't get it. But the point is, it's statistically impossible, and yet every single time, whether it's dancing, whether it's sewing, whether it's the great pottery throwdown, whether it's baking, whether it's love, there's always a stumpy. Yeah, that was it, really. Katie, would I ever bone a person with a stumpy arm? Well, I haven't to date. I mean, never say never. You know, I say that all the time. In life, be as weird as you can be. Never say never to anything. And I would say, oh, well, I would definitely wouldn't do that. But it turns out I have a price. I said that about Big Brother. No, yes, Celebrity Big Brother in the UK. I was like, no. I'm not being stuck in a house. I'll be bored shitless. But there's a price that I went, oh, all right then. Never say never. As you get older, you also realise definitely say yes. Like, you know, definitely get amongst it. Especially when you see young people. Look, shit's sake. That's what we could have done. We could have done chugging pints of squash. When you see young people now, you know, and I look at them, and sometimes I get caught staring at them because when they come to, mostly young people in my audiences, which is brilliant, but you look at them and their little skin is all, you can see it's all, their skin's like all pudgy and cute and glowy, and everything's still like super high up. I don't mean the ones that have got Botox and all that stuff, but just skin, and like their skin, like if you're young now, you pinch your skin, and mine's doing it okay at the minute, but like on a bad moment, I can pinch my skin, and I'd be like, yeah, okay then. It's like, it's weird, it just happens, and you don't even know how, and then you look at young people and you go, look at you, you plumpy thing. Go on, right? Go on, show off your plumpy bits. Go on. That's why I'm so pissed off, actually. Why aren't I Prime Minister? I don't know. I'd be awesome, wouldn't I? There'd be absolutely nothing that anyone could make me say, and I just wouldn't do anything shit. Drive at the speed you want to drive, as long as you pay if you hurt someone. Don't let someone else tell you what to do. In fact, should we have a serious moment? On a serious moment, I'm just going to, I did this earlier today, but I don't think I sorted the problem out. American Constitution says the only reason for politicians, the only reason is to ensure life, as in to make sure you stay alive, right? That's their job. And not by telling you where you can go, or when you can go out, or when you have to stay in, or who you can talk to, or whether you can walk your dog, or how many times you can exercise your fucking pet a day, right? As in, no one should be able to come up and just shoot you dead and then just walk away. So life. The only other job of a politician, the only acceptable purpose is liberty, to ensure that not only can you stay alive and not be shot in the street for no reason, but that you should be free to make choices, free to take risks, free to take accountability for your own decisions, free to care for your own family, utterly free from the control of anyone and all other, right? And the third part of the Constitution, and this matters, and you may think this is dull, but it isn't. The founding fathers, when they were thinking about how are we allowed to be, you know, how are we allowed to take charge in any way where we're still serving the people, okay, we'll protect their lives, we'll make sure they're as free as they can possibly be, and they have a right to the pursuit of happiness. Wouldn't it be great if we had a Prime Minister who said, from tomorrow, my job, our job, any politician's job is only these three things: to ensure you can stay alive without someone killing you, to ensure that you are as free as it's possible for you to be, and to ensure that you can pursue the happiness that you choose to in your life. And then all of these bullshit rules, all of these things we keep being told. Or, I mean, imagine someone telling you what sort of boiler you're supposed to have in your own house. I mean, that's wild, isn't it? You know, it's a wild idea. Imagine someone having the right to tell you what goes on inside your home or your car. Imagine a child earning their money to buy themselves a car, earning their money to get their insurance, 1,500 quid, passing tests when there's nobody to take a test anymore, and there's a wait list for tests, and it's hard to get a test, and you're put off taking a test, and it's expensive to get lessons. Getting a car, and this is personal because yes, it's my kids, and then they have to have a black box in their car to be able to afford the interest rate with some freak monitoring them in their own car. How far away from, I know we're not American, but how far away are we from a time when politicians realised that if you were to govern for the people, by the people, then you should only have the right to talk of those three things. That was a bit serious, I know, but that sits behind everything. That sits behind all the frivolity. That sits behind all my nonsense and my madness, and that sits behind my humour. And you know that that's why it's genuine and authentic, because I've been doing it 20 years. Finally, Murdoch goes, but he's not gone really. And the gossip is, he's got Lachlan in right now, right? The minute Murdoch dies, can't be that long, can it? Unless he's already a lizard. Don't even go there. The minute Murdoch dies, the shit hits the fan. 4 kids, each of them has an equal share. Lachlan does not have a say over them. Each of them has a completely different view about where the company should go. When Murdoch pops off Fox and everything and those kids, it kicks off. It's going to be like one of those really awkward funerals where people aren't talking to each other because they didn't get the bits of the will that they wanted. Okay, my love. Evening, hi. So I should do some thank yous. Thank you to everybody for being just brilliant. I haven't been around so much this week. That's because lovely Mark's been in Amsterdam. And I've had my daughter's parrot here, and I very much like a parrot. Thanks to everybody for just turning up. The Blade Runners, the people protesting in London tomorrow, you guys out there spending your cash every time you can make a cash transaction instead of a card one. Every little thing you do, anybody that's, maybe shocking vandalism that's going on with some of these 20-mile-an-hour signs, small things that make a big difference to many people, and you guys are part of that, and I love it. And I'll see some of you in Leicester tomorrow, and we'll get the venue dates to you. I think Mark told me we had a couple tickets left in Swindon, and we are now down to, it's unheard of, but I think we're down to like our last 10 tickets at Blackpool. We will be 1,200 people strong in October in Blackpool. And when I was on stage in the Wirral, on the Wirral, up the Wirral, a bunch of lovely girls, if you're here tonight, bless you, went straight on and booked Blackpool while you were with me at the Wirral. That was just a very sweet thing because, to my point, you can come alone. One of these girls came alone, but then met some other girls there, and they're coming to Blackpool together. And that's my favourite thing about what I get to do, is we all get to see each other. And a reminder that on Monday to Friday, I do a radio show now with lovely TNT. So TNT, will I put it down on my chart, even though it's back to front? Tango November Tango. That works. Does it work forward and backwards? I don't know. I do my show now from 9 to 10, and we have an online tribe there as well, and it's a real joy. And TNT Radio is made up only of presenters who have been fired for their views or let go from mainstream because they wouldn't toe the line. So it's a very jolly bunch to be a part of. Anyway, thanks so much for playing along. Bristol, please. I don't know. See you in Blackpool. Thank you. I cannot. Blackpool is going to be, the whole place is going to be our family. And lots of businesses in Blackpool are really excited for it as well. Hotels there. There's people who are so on side with what we're all trying to do. I really feel like Skeggy and Blackpool and places, there's some real heartlands now for us. So thanks for sticking with me. I don't know about this whole dry Katie's Arms shit, but I can tell you for sure, next time we do a Katie's Arms, I'm bringing a bottle. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you soon. And if you know of any venues that will hear my name and say, yes, she can come here, she's all right, do always let us know, landlord@katiesarms.com. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Remember, go on. Why not? Even if the worst thing happens, it will not be as bad as some of the shit that I've got up to, and I'm still here.